Hey book friends, how's it going today? It's Kat. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be, oh my god, hopefully the end of my stomach ache. So this book is the second book in the series. I did a video on it, the first book, a couple weeks ago. This is the second book. And when I finished this book, I went straight into the third book because, oh my god, I have had a stomach ache the whole time reading this book. That's how good it is. That's how stressed out I am with this book in the very best way. I am so engrossed by the story. I need to know where it's going. I need to know what's happening. I need to know what the ending's going to be. And oh my gosh, this is only the second book. The book is Grenade by Annie Dyer. It's the Tarnished Crowns series. Like I said, second book. You know, if you haven't read Chandelier, maybe you don't want to watch this video, which I hate to even say because of course I want you to watch my video, but I don't want you to get spoilers. You know, I really do try on my channel not to give direct spoilers. I put that in the description box, so I just want to warn you. So let's talk about it. I really liked Chandelier. I will put it in the comments below the video I did. I was very intrigued by it. I felt like Annie was setting up, or did set up, the other two books really well with Chandelier. Got a lot of basis. I felt like I knew Blair, which is one of the main characters. That's her point of view in Chandelier. It's all about her. I mean, of course, we see the other characters, but I really felt like Annie was laying groundwork in that book. And I came out of it thinking, okay, I really know Blair very well. Who's next? So Grenade is Ben's story, or I should say Ben's point of view, which I'm really glad that this is the way she is writing it, because I felt like once I knew that Grenade was going to be Ben's story, I knew I was going to come out of it knowing him that much better. When you read Chandelier, you will understand when I say he's a man of few words. He sees everything. He takes note of everything. He sees more than we would ever know. That's just him. He's an observer. And his military training has made that even more so. And we do know through Chandelier that he did spend 11 years in the military. It fit his personality to a T, knowing that, and then getting to know him better in this book. I feel like I know Ben so much better, even though he doesn't give us anything, really. He's just, when he speaks, you listen. And it's so funny because I'm talking about a book, right? But he's just that type of guy. So I knew him from Blair's point of view, of course, in Chandelier, but now having Grenade be his book, I really feel like, okay, good, I got a good feel for him, and I wanted to know even more about him, and we know so much more about him. So like I said, there's 3 books in the series. Chandelier is Blair's point of view, Grenade is Ben's point of view, and then Emeralds is Isaac's point of view. If you don't know already, because you just happened upon this video, it's technically, I guess, an MMF book. I mean, see, I don't want to tell you. There is a relationship that develops between Blair and Isaac, and that develops between Isaac and Ben, and then between the 3 of them. Anyone that's reading about these books, you know that. So I'm not giving it all away, but so perplexed. And it's something that, and I was talking to my husband about this, and he doesn't fully understand how I don't get sick of the romance genre, which is so funny. He's a voracious reader. He reads, oh my gosh, as much or more than I do. He reads, you know, a few different genres, and I stick to romance. So he's like, I just don't get, like, how do you never get sick of it? And, you know, I've said before that for me, you know, I love reading somebody falling in love. I love knowing how different people met and how they came to be in a relationship and how they stay in a relationship and falling in love. And to me, like, that, I just eat that up. I'm so in love with love. I mean, that sounds kind of corny, but it's true. And so, you know, I was trying to explain to him that about this series, and he's like, well, what have you read? You know, did you always read stuff like that? And no, this is different. It's very different, but I'm so intrigued by how authors portray that type of relationship. And Ben and Blair and Isaac are trying to figure out if they can have that relationship, and watching all of that develop amongst this very different story of if England and Scotland would have stayed separate, and that England is ruled by its own monarchy and prime minister, and Scotland has its own monarchy, and Blair is part of that. She's the princess. And so it's so different, and what a great basis of the book, you know? So there's all of that, the political, boy, I said it before in my other video, it's like playing chess and poker at the same time. I mean, it's just every word that comes out of Blair's mouth and Isaac's mouth and Ben's mouth is choreographed and thought about, and they never give anything away, and they're always looking for who are the players, and it's so just, you know, very woven together, and yet Annie has written this beautiful love story in amongst that. And by the way, it's between 3 people. I mean, talk about, this is why my stomach hurt. I was so stressed out, and not only by the political intrigue that this book has, but also how these 3 amazing people have found each other, and what they're, you know, how they just want to love each other, and yet are they on opposite sides, or are they on the same side? And oh my gosh, it's just a lot. I love how we have gotten now 2 different perspectives, and like I said, the 3rd book, Emeralds, is Isaac's perspective. I love that because, as I talked about before, getting Blair's perspective in the 1st book and then getting the 2nd book in Ben's perspective, I got to know Blair even better from Ben's perspective, and then vice versa. So I'm loving how this is going to be all 3 perspectives in the full scope of this series. I really liked Ben in the 1st book. I had a lot of questions about him, definitely. I mean, I have a lot of questions in general about this series. That's the great part of this series. That's the part that, like, keeps, like, my heart invested and my brain invested and my stomach ache, you know, like all those questions and all that. But I felt like I got to know Ben so well in this book, and I really appreciate that. And I mean, he just is so, I use the word swoony a lot, and I'm not good with adjectives, so I think that's why I go back to my old standards. He just, he fills a lot of those buckets for me that I need in a main male character, in that he's protective, and he's strong, and he's loyal, and he's loving in his way. And we learn more about his past, and my heart broke for him. And it's not something that Annie kind of like lays right out there. She kind of gives us these little morsels in Chandelier, and then a little bit more in Grenade, to know fully what his past was. And I really appreciated that. And I really felt at the end of this book like my heart soared so high for him in so many moments in this book, and yet at the end of this book my heart was completely broken for him. And I'm really hoping, see, I'm getting teary, I'm really hoping that it comes back together in Emeralds. I have so many questions, like I said. I want to know what Isaac's doing. Like, and I know we're gonna get that in Emeralds. Yeah, did I say that I started reading it already? I am lucky enough to be on Annie's ARC team, so she is such a freaking rock star because she gave us the finished arcs pretty quickly, one after the other, and I think she gave us Grenade and Emeralds like within a couple days of each other. So once we finished Chandelier, we could move on right away. And even though the release dates are staggered, obviously, I really appreciated that. As somebody that reads a lot, I hate I have a love-hate relationship with cliffhangers. I mean, don't we all, right? I will usually, and I know a lot of us are the same way, I will wait to read a series till the series is complete and the author has released all the books. And I know the authors don't always love that, and you know, it's hard for them, but you know, I am guilty of that. And so the fact that we got these advanced reader copies from Annie, like lickety split, I was like, oh, thank God. And I literally was so happy at the end of Grenade because I was like, oh, swipe, doot, doot, doot. Okay, open up Emeralds, and I went right into it. Something that I felt with Ben was that his life growing up until, you know, his age now, which I think that they must be in their, like about 30 years old-ish, them, roughly. And it was complicated. Everything in his life is complicated. And yet he seems very simple and able to navigate complicated, manipulative people with an ease that has brought him to being back in Blair's life as the head of her security. But there's this simplicity about him that I just absolutely felt in my heart, and that's what's breaking my heart a little bit for him, is that he, to me, seems to long for the simplicity, something simple in his life. Like, he's not afraid of the hard stuff at all. That's not him. He's a soldier. He's a protector. He goes to battle, and he will go to battle, whether it's literally, like, you know, in the trenches in the desert or standing in a room to protect Blair. But I think he yearns, in my opinion, he yearns for a simplicity of being able to love her and have not all this other noise going on around them. And yet he understands on an organic level that this is just the way it is. So he can be very, well, he is very black and white as far as that goes. And he knows that any day something could change and they could not be together anymore. And I really, that broke my heart for him. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but I think he longs for the simplicity of being able to love who he wants and be loved in return. But yet, once he acknowledges that he loves her, or that he might love somebody else, and what that brings to their situation and how complicated it is a whole lot. And he also realizes that. Super smart guy, and people don't give him credit for that. I had a couple really favorite parts of this book. One of them was when the king, Blair's dad, comes to talk to Ben, and the king is not well, and I hate to say it, but he's not long for this world. His health is not good, and he loves his daughter, and he wants to see her happy, and he appreciates Ben and his role in his life, her life. And it's something that I think surprised Ben, because remember, there's a lot of, Ben is the gardener's son. And although the king has never and always been the type of king that everyone matters to him. So Ben has this kind of I'm the gardener's son mentality about him, and in a lot of ways doesn't feel like he's good enough and that they're from two different worlds. But the king comes and talks to Ben, and he gives him a glass of whiskey, and they sit down and they kind of have a chat, or a heart-to-heart, I should say. Oh God, it was sweet, because he just in that moment was a young man talking to the father of the woman that he loves. And you know, a father that's not well and just wants to see his daughter happy, and what his legacy is going to be. Oh my God, it was so sweet. So sweet. I've talked that this is like very like intriguing political drama, you know, as an undercurrent running through these books. But these were the moments, the one that I just spoke of about Blair's father. And then also Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And when you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. But those were the moments that made this book a true romance book to me. So beautiful, so emotional, so sexy. I mean, Annie goes there. Annie goes there for sure. But those, oh my gosh, those were my favorite parts, as far as it being a true, this is where the romance, she just hit it home with these special moments, and I loved those parts. I would highly recommend you read this book. Read Chandelier, read Grenade, Emeralds. I'm going to tell you to read it. I'm going to do a video on it, so that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. Oh my gosh. Wow. I am so, I don't want to say surprised by Annie's writing, because I think that might sound negative, and it's not negative at all. I've talked about Annie's books before. I've done, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th video I've done. Obviously, I like Annie's writing, right? But I think where I say that I'm constantly surprised by her, because the books are all, even though they're romances and, you know, that's where I was introduced to her, that's what she writes, they are all these different voices. Now we've taken a next step and we've written, you know, this series, and, or I should, not we, she's written this series, and she has completely surprised me again. And I love that. And I love that when I read this book, my stomach hurt. That tells you all the emotion that her writing and this story has brought out in me. I just, yes, I think it's amazing. And I have to say, yay, Annie. I am so into it. Let me know which of Annie's books you have read in the comments below. And be on the lookout for Emeralds, the last book in the series. I'm just a couple pages in. Well, no, yeah, maybe I'm like 2 chapters in. Oh my God. And I just have to say, Isaac Everly. Woo. Oh my God. I'll see you soon, guys. I'm gonna go read some of Isaac. Great name too, by the way. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.